Well, let's continue with this, folks. We're not going to finish this today. We'll wrap it up tomorrow. It's just one very small chapter, 12 pages toward the end of the book. And we're doing it as a book report to encourage you to go buy this book and read it. It's extremely interesting, and it will give you a real big clue as to what the Illuminati wants you to believe and what will be coming, within a few years on the world scene. And believe me, it will be coming, folks. You've got to understand that somehow. In spite of Queen Victoria's efforts to suppress Stuart popularity, there was a significant Jacobite revival in the late 1800s. The Queen's advisors therefore sought to emphasize her tenuous claim to Stuart descent to the exclusion of the Stuarts' own Scottish heritage. As a result, thane Banquo and the Scots line from King Alpin disappeared from the Hanoverians' readjusted Stuart registers. The Lord Lion, King of Arms, subsequently wrote, "The traditional account of the descent of the family from Banquo, thane of Lochaber, and through him from the ancient kings of Scotland, is now generally discredited. From that time, the Stuarts' Breton line was brought wholly to the fore. But why anyone should have to discredit one line of a descent in order to promote another is beyond ordinary understanding. Everyone has at least two lines of immediate descent, and the Stuarts, of course, were no exception." Subsequent members of the Scots royal family were prominent in the Belgian resistance during World War II. Hubert Pirlo, Prime Minister of Belgium, was a close friend of the Stuarts, who had reverted to the original spelling of their name in 1892. In that year, they had moved to the Chateau du Moulin in the Belgian Ardennes, where they lived until 1968. This castle had originally been given to the family in 1692 by King Louis XIV. As recently as 1982, the city of Brussels honored the Stuarts with a grand reception. Then on 14 December 1990, the Brussels registrars signed, sealed, and authenticated an updated charter of the Royal House of Stuart, detailing the complete family descent from the time of Robert the Bruce down to date. Today there are several lines descended from Prince Edward James, 2nd Count of Albany. They include the Counts of Durnelly and the Dukes of Coldingham. Foremost, however, in the main line of legitimate descent from Charles Edward Stuart and his son Edward James is the present 7th Count of Albany, Prince Michael James Alexander Stuart, Duc d'Aquitaine, Comte de Blois, head of the Sacred Kindred of St. Columba, Knight Grand Commander of the Order of the Temple of Jerusalem, Patron Grand Officer of the International Society of Commissioned Officers for the Commonwealth, and President of the European Council of Princes. Prince Michael's own compelling book, Scotland, The Forgotten Kingdom, a thoroughly detailed and politically corrected history of the Scots royal descent, is now in the course of preparation. Of course it is. This senior Stuart descent goes all the way back to King Arthur's father, King Aidan of Scots, on the one hand, and to Prince Nacien of the Septimanian Midi on the other. The Scots descent traces further back through King Lucius of Siluria to Bran the Blessed and Joseph of Arimathea, St. James the Just, while the Midi succession stems from the Merovingians' male ancestral line through the Fisher Kings to Jesus and Mary Magdalene. See? What did I tell you? And I told you this was going to happen years ago before this guy ever dreamed of writing this book. I told you that this was going to happen. I told you that they would make this case. And I told you, folks. And it's all on tape. All of it. finish tomorrow. But anyway, let me continue. Conjoining the lines from their first century points of departure, the descent is in the succession of the royal house of Judah. This is a truly unique line of sovereign lineage from King David in one of the key descents which comprise the bloodline of the Holy Grail. Now, let me tell you what's really behind this, ladies and gentlemen. Behind this, and you better listen to me carefully, is pure Zionism. The concept that there is a divine race chosen by God to rule over all other races and all other people in the world, and that this divine right to rule was given to David, and that his descendants, which they now call British Israelism, are Christian identity, and the radical sect of Judaism, Messianic Judaism, are all combined to claim that the Anglo-Aryan race is the real, true Israel and is destined to rule the world. And in case you belong to the Mormon Church and you think this applies to you, it doesn't, folks, because it's not going to be in Missouri or Illinois where this new Jerusalem is. It's going to be in the real Jerusalem, is where these people want it to be. And the wealth, the real power behind the throne will be in the 1 mile square city of London, known as the British Crown. Got that, guys?
Shine forth